Hey guys, welcome back to Intellectual, the channel where we dive into the awesome stories of history. In this episode, we're going to talk about how Rome was founded by a guy who kidnapped a bunch of ladies from his neighbors. Sounds crazy, right? But is it true or just a myth? And what does it say about the Romans and their culture? Keep listening to find out. So Romulus and Remus were these two bros who had a pretty wild backstory. Their mother was Rhea Silvia, a priestess who became pregnant by Mars, the god of war. Yes, you read that correctly. Talk about a scandal. Her uncle Amulius was not happy about this. He had already taken the throne from his brother Numitor, and he didn't want any rivals for his power. That's why he had made Rhea a Vestal virgin to keep her away from men. But apparently, that didn't work. So Amulius, in order to get rid of any potential rivals, buried Rhea Silvia alive and threw her sons into the river. But guess what? The river didn't want them either. It spit them out on the shore where they were found by a friendly wolf who decided to adopt them and feed them with her own milk. How sweet is that? Then they were taken in by a shepherd named Faustulus, who raised them as his own kids until they found out who they really were. Romulus and Remus then decided to take revenge on their evil uncle and restore their grandpa to his throne, but that wasn't enough for them. They wanted to start their own city on the spot where they were saved by the wolf. But there was one problem. They couldn't agree on where exactly to build it. Romulus liked the Palatine Hill, while Remus preferred the Aventine Hill. They tried to solve their disagreement by looking at birds because apparently that's how you make important decisions back then. They used augury, which is like reading tea leaves but with feathers. According to Livy, the historian, one of our main sources for this story, Remus saw 6 vultures first, but Romulus saw 12 later. Each said that he had won because he had seen more birds, or because he had seen them sooner. And that's when things got ugly. Because, guess what? Remus ended up dead. Some say Romulus killed him himself. Others say it was one of his buddies. Either way, not cool. Romulus then took a plow and a couple of cows and drew a line around his hill. He said that this was his city and anyone who crossed it would die. Talk about being territorial. But wait a minute. Did this really happen? And why did Romulus go all psycho on his brother? Well, the truth is we don't really know for sure. The story of Romulus and Remus is probably more myth than history. It was a way for the Romans to explain how their city started and what it meant to them. The name Romulus may come from Roma, which means strength or power in Latin. The killing of Remus may show how Rome was built on violence and war, but also how it crushed its enemies and rivals. The plowing of the city limits may show how Rome started as a farming community, but later grew its land through conquests. But there was still one problem. Romulus had a city but no people to live in it. How would he fill it up with citizens who would work, pray, and live there? Where would he find them? Romulus had a clever idea. He made his city a safe haven for anyone who wanted to join him. He invited runaway slaves, exiles, criminals, and outcasts from other places and tribes. He gave them land rights and citizenship rights in return for their loyalty and service. But there was still something missing. Women. Romulus realized that without women there would be no future generations of Romans, so he needed to find some wives for himself and his men fast. But how could he do that when most neighboring communities were hostile or wary of him? He decided to use deception instead of force. He organized a festival and invited all nearby tribes, especially the Sabines, to attend it. He promised them games, music, food, and wine. Many people accepted his invitation and came to enjoy the festivities, but little did they know that it was all part of a trap. When everyone was distracted by the entertainment, Romulus gave a signal to his men to grab the women they liked and carry them off to their homes. This was known as the rape of the Sabine women, although rape here means abduction rather than sexual assault. But what happened next? How did the Sabine men react to this outrage? And how did the Sabine women feel about their new husbands? The Sabine men were furious and vowed to take revenge on Romulus and his men. They formed an alliance with other tribes and prepared for war. They attacked Rome several times but were repelled by Romulus and his army. The war dragged on for years until one day something unexpected happened. The Sabine women who had been abducted by the Romans intervened in the conflict. They had grown fond of their husbands and children and did not want to see them killed or separated. They ran out into the battlefield between the two armies and pleaded with both sides to stop fighting. They said they were happy in Rome and did not want to return to their former homes. They asked their fathers and brothers to accept them as Romans and make peace with Romulus. Their appeal worked, and both parties agreed to end the hostilities and form a new alliance. So Romulus and the Sabine king Titus Tatius became best friends and ruled Rome together until Tacitus got killed in a brawl. Romulus then became the boss of Rome until he vanished in a storm and was like, "Peace out, I'm a god now." And that's how Romulus started Rome, by stealing some ladies from his neighbors. What a legend. But what happened to Rome after that? To find out more, stay tuned for our next episode on Roman history. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell icon to get notified when we drop new videos. Thanks for watching and catch you later.